Good evening, and welcome to another insidious version of Diatribes. Now here's your ingenious and incisive host, voice of Doom. Hello. I don't know if Aurora Borealis is going on in my room or what. It looks purple and green to me on the screen, but I like it. It's me. Purple and green go together great. Now, I'll apologize for being so snarky on my last episode. Sorry for exposing the truth to everyone and scaring you. I was in a bad mood. I did stupid things yesterday. I wasn't as stupid today. It's a day-to-day thing. And so I'm not going to scare you as much with this episode. I'm going to scare you more. Because I was truthful when I said I have to keep on keeping on with the in-your-face doomsday stuff. Because there's not a lot of time left. So thank you, Nick, for your comments, and I would love to hire you on as a consultant to help me with my show, but I can only afford to pay you maybe 2 cans of Chef Boyardee bi-weekly, so I don't think that's worth you picking up stakes and moving to help me. But I was talking about famine, starvation, and overall hunger, which I've talked about previously. There's one I did called The Hunger Games, which I did more in-depth stuff about different famines that have taken place in history and why. And many of the famines are made from people. They are caused deliberately. But Nick was saying, that the weather, is a factor with crops and then farmers. Now, tell you the truth, I wasn't even thinking about weather one little bit. It didn't occur to me because we've had weather forever and farmers still seem to manage to bring in a crop. Either it's a bumper crop or it's not a bumper crop. The weather affects futures of commodities, okay. But I don't see any evidence that the weather is going to do anything particularly bad to our crops, but I'm going to have to lay bare. I alluded to the fact that some of our glorious leaders might actually be deliberately causing, our calamities and our dilemmas and our disasters. And I brought up the border, but I was really alluding to famine and starvation. And I will say it now. I will be one person to say it, even though I've seen it elsewhere, so don't come at me with your lawyers. They are causing the calamity. They are allowing it to happen. They're encouraging it to happen. And they're expediting it to happen. How? Well, call them conspiracy theories or not. But everything is easily provable one way or the other. So I will say what I have heard over the last 2 or 3 years. There was disruptions in the supply chain and in food processing plants during the pandemic. There continues to be mysterious fires at food processing plants all across the U.S. Wokester countries are banning nitrous oxide that they use in fertilizer because of the environmental concerns, specifically Canada, Holland, both breadbaskets, banning fertilizer, and many programs and many administrative edicts are basically paying farmers not to grow their crop. That's been going on forever. Ukraine is being blown up, so there's not a whole lot of time to grow wheat when you keep getting blown up all the time. Ukraine is a breadbasket of Eastern Europe. Ukraine is the Iowa and the Kansas, Indiana of Eastern Europe. They're not producing as much food. I'm surprised if they produce any food, and any food they may produce is being commandeered. This is what I heard. They can all be conspiracy theories, but either a building burned down or it didn't. You don't say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Well, check. Well, the building's still standing, you see? And don't show me a picture. So, we are causing it. I mean, they are causing it. They want worldwide famine. They want American starvation. Prices keep going up as commodities are constricted. And eggs are very high now. It's the first thing people notice because it's a staple. Everybody loves eggs. I use them in almost everything. I use them all the time. I use them in my brownies. I have fried eggs in the morning. I have egg salad sandwiches. Love eggs. Very versatile. But what came first, the chicken or the egg? I think the egg came first, and then it's going to be the chickens. So if eggs are $7.99 for a carton of 18 right now in Carson City, then the chickens will follow. And then you'll have roasters for $25. And you'll have a package of chicken legs for, $27. So we can look forward to that. And forget about going out to Chinese food, because they mostly use chicken in their dishes. The sea's already being emptied of shellfish and things of that nature. And there are environmental concerns with food production, especially when you have islands of plastic out in the middle of the ocean. That's just off the top of my head, of different ways that they're going to cause us all to starve. So that's something to think about. But I did have an idea, and it's such a good idea that I amaze even myself how we can solve all the government's problems in one fell swoop. And they already had the facilities and the plan to do it. 87,000 IRS agents were going to be hired by the D's in order to shake down the common clay. So obviously, if they had won, they would have voted that through, and they would have printed up a bunch of money to hire 87,000 IRS agents. So let's just say they have the money for 87,000 people. Hire them. They will be hired as independent prosecutors. 87,000 of them. You assign an independent prosecutor to each government official in the United used-to-be states, starting with the administration, the cabinet, the joint chiefs of staff, every senator, every representative. Then you go to the governors, then you go to the state legislatures. You give every single person a special prosecutor. Now, I knew that was brilliant enough, and I said, well, we'll have to cull them, and we'll have to vet them so that they are independent. And then I thought, no, wait a minute. This idea gets more brilliant as I think about it. Hire them, check into their background, check in to see who they gave money to and who they supported, and then assign them to the exact opposite party. I've solved it. It's all there. Think about it. Every single politician has a special investigator behind him, and every single person has somebody from the other side watching every move they make. I've just solved every problem in this country. It's not even 10 minutes long. I don't have more to say. It's one of the most brilliant ideas ever uttered by the human mouth, and everybody should know it. So there is hope if you listen to me. Just think about that. I don't want to reiterate. Let's talk more about the chum, since I have more time. All the Sunday wags are talking about the documents. It's a docu-drama of very small proportions. And they're caught between horns of a dilemma because they can't raid Orangey and then find boxes in Petrie's, garage. I don't know how they got there. I forgot. And then the D's are on TV saying, well, Orangey stole those. He out and out stole them. When everybody knows, don't have to go over it again. He had already made arrangements with the archives and with the Justice Department to have whatever turned in. He had them locked the way they wanted them locked. They could have come and gotten it any time, but they decided to do it with their SWAT teams so they could rifle through every single square inch of his house. Okay, on the other hand, a vice president has no right to have those things in the first place, so to say, I forgot I had them, or it was a mistake, is like, well, are you guys keeping track? You check the stuff out, and you don't bring it back. It's not like a school library. Even a school library would be more strict. So the contrasts are so obvious. But still, even the most insentient ape in the government knows that you can't prosecute one without the other without looking like a cherry picking. It's very obvious. So they either do one or the other. They either leave both alone or they prosecute both. And I wish they prosecute both, because Orangey seems to be rather resilient. And they may not find anything to hang him for. I know he was a treasonous scoundrel who sold this country right out with his boxes in his closet. Whereas Petrie is an older statesman of the highest stature who simply forgot that he had documents that he didn't have the right to have in the first place. Which, if people look at what's in the boxes and read the pieces of paper, they might say something to the effect of, yes, some prosecutor in Ukraine was shaken down and forced to resign because we wouldn't get the money from Petri dish if we didn't do it, and we need that billions of dollars so we can divide it amongst ourselves. And things of that nature. Deals with people in certain countries that may not have our best interests at heart. Kickbacks, sop money, bribery, extortion. Oh, what else could be in there? Yeah, make a list. So I'm going to leave it there. I think I said a lot. Take my idea to heart, government. Think about it, McCarthy. You'll be the biggest hero in the history of government. So it was a good idea. You got to admit it. And thanks, Nick. All right, good night.